Hey guys, I've got Vern Falstrom here, and would you please repeat? I know it's Strawberry Hill, but the name of the farm again here in
Strawberry
Mead?
Hill Nutrition Farm.
Strawberry Hills Nutrition Farms. And guys, I got to tell you, the stuff he's been going through with me and David Whiting here, and the stuff that he's been introducing us to and sharing with us, the things he's putting in the soil, he is actually growing some of the highest, most phytonutrient dense foods found anywhere on the planet. I actually believe that. And this stuff is just absolutely phenomenal what he's doing. We're in a giant greenhouse right now that goes back like half a forever. And on the other side of it are those, you can kind of see them through the thing, but they're just giant, giant plants. And the whole thing's a huge, nutrient dense farm. And what are you doing? Because you call it Beyond Organics, Vern. What are you doing with that? Explain to people what it is you're doing with the soil. And one of the most fascinating, it's the first time I've ever heard this, but I read an article about you, and they were talking about how you were saying that insects are attracted to plants that aren't well, and that made sense to me because in nature, they call the herds, and the wolves will hunt at the outside of the herds for the sick and the young, those that are not really strong, and it made so much sense to me when I read that in this article. So I'm going to shut up and just ask you to say a few words, please.
You're right on. The reason the insects go after the plants is because they are sick. And so if I see a bug on a plant, I try to find out why is the bug on the plant. And in most cases, it's lack of nutrients in the soil or lack of water. There's something wrong with the plant.
Okay.
So instead of going after the bug and the symptom of the plant, I try to find out why it's happening, and I go after the cause, not the symptom.
Okay.
So because of this now, in the last 2 years, my farm, I haven't had an aphid on the farm anywhere.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you have not had an aphid on this farm
Absolutely.
once you started going nutrient dense within the soil?
I had to transition into it.
Okay.
As the soil built up its fertility, I got less and less bugs because the plants aren't stressed.
This is
So
incredible.
I do a lot of work with my soil. I get the trace minerals in there, I get the biology in there, the organic matter. So I go back like your ancestors used to farm. I do the cover crops. I use the compost teas, trace minerals. They all work together. You get it all working together because the soil is the stomach to the plant. Whatever you do to that soil, that's the plant's stomach.
Wow, this is incredible. Guys, Vern doesn't even know this yet, but a little bit later I'm going to ask him if he will do a webinar with me on just this stuff. This is phenomenal what this guy can teach, and we can spread it around the world, literally. My God, it makes so much sense to me, Vern. We have a immune system. A plant species would have an immune system. The healthier it is, the less the insects are going to be able to attack it. Just like the healthier we are, the less disease can get into our body. It makes so much sense.
And that's why you study the plants, you find out what the plant's needs are, because not all plants have the same needs. And so you vary your nutrients according to what the plant needs, whether it's fungal dominated or bacterial dominated. So you have to, in fact, we've done experiments on the farm. We constantly are doing experiments on the farm. This is a big lab.
Okay.
And so we put some broccoli down by some raspberries last year, and more like an experiment, and the broccoli won and the raspberries lost.
Okay.
Because see, the raspberries like it fungal, and the broccoli likes it bacterial dominated.
Gotcha. All right.
So we actually do the compost tea. We'll brew the tea, and we'll vary it according to the plant's needs. If it needs fungal dominated, we'll make it more fungal dominated. If it needs more bacterial dominated, we'll change it so it makes it more bacterial dominated.
Okay, and earlier you were telling me about oxygenating the soil, and you had this whole thing. What is that one? I'm not trying to advertise the product here, but you have those giant bags in there.
We use azomite.
Azomite, that's it.
And this azomite stands for A to Z trace minerals or micronutrients, A to Z, and it even has rare earth minerals in it. And I used the azomite for years and years on my farm, and I love the results because you get the nutrient dense food. And when I mean nutrient dense food, you don't have to hurry up and eat it when you pick it. You can leave it for a long time.
Really?
The shelf life goes up and up and up because it's nutrient dense. This is the future of food, is nutrient density.
You're absolutely correct.
It has to be you have to have the nutrition in it. See, as we farm, every time we take a crop off the land, we're taking the minerals and the nutrients out of the soil. We got to put them back in.
Right on.
So
Right
that's
on.
what we do. We do the cover crops. We put the trace minerals in. We just work on the soil constantly. So every year my soil gets better and better. When I first started here, I had clay and rocks. I would put my plants in the spring, I couldn't even cultivate it between them in the summer. It got like concrete. So I just
Wow.
worked at it. Now the soil's gorgeous, but it's taken years to build it that way. It doesn't just happen overnight.
Right. And something you shared with me last night was, and it rather surprised me, was that share with people about, as an organics farmer, apparently you're now starting to be allowed to put some pesticides within the, to spray pesticides or use them within the soil, something like that?
Well, you can use Safer's insecticidal soap. You can use BT. And I think there's a thing called spinosad you can use for cherries. But you know what? I use none of that stuff.
And none of it should be used, I might add.
I farm like your ancestors. When I tell people how I farm, I say I farm like your ancestors used to farm before the advent of any chemical fertilizer came out. So I'm back. They use cover crops to control erosion and to put the organic matter back in. That's what I do. Maybe I'm just an old-time farmer now. I've just gone way back. And you work with nature. If you work with nature, you get a good end product.
Wow, that's just absolutely incredible. I'm learning a lot from you, and I just stand in awe of the things that you're doing and the things I'm feeling on the farm. What do you attribute, I mean, when I drove up, and I've felt this at different places, but the energy here is off the charts. I mean, it's just incredible. What do you attribute that energy to?
Well, I play classical music for my plants 24/7.
You play classical music for your plants?
And for the people on the farm.
Right on. Oh, wow.
You come here and this Dr. Amado's work with the frozen water and that.
Yes.
The same thing with you. See, you're 70% give or take water in your system, and the music will affect your body, just like it will the plants and the soil, everything. So we play our classical music.
That's why I hear it everywhere I'm going on the farm.
See,
right on.
Move this soil here just even a little bit, you'll find it's like a worm bed.
Wow.
Phenomenal.
Right on.
This is just, they're loving it here.
Right on.
You have to have the bacteria for the worms, and the worms give off, and worm castings. We do a lot of things on the farm. We're not letting all of our tricks out of the bag right now.
Right.
We have a lot of things we're excited about, we're doing. We're designing and building a compost tea brewer that's going to be awesome because of the classes I've taken. I've had a lot of coursework. I guess you probably know. I am a geologist, a master gardener, a master composter.
Wow.
And I went to Australia, studied nutrition farm with Dr. Graham Sate down there with Nutritech Solutions.
Yes, I'm in ESG as a matter of fact. Yeah.
So I've been down there, and so and I keep taking classes. And
right on.
And I'm 73 years of age. What have I got to lose? I just
on.
I just got to keep my brain active because they got Alzheimer's or dementia. They call that.
Yeah.
But you got to exercise that brain too.
Right on. Right on. This is absolutely incredible, folks. I'm going to wrap this up. And we're just going to say blessings to you all and wish you the best. This is Dave the Raw Food Trucker saying, hope you have the best day ever, to quote David Wolf, who I truly try to honor and respect whenever I can. Blessings.
Well, what do you think?